yang luar biasa yang dilakukan untuk itu. Jadi tujuannya adalah sekali lagi agar genosida ataupun kekerasan semacam itu tidak terulang lagi. Tetapi ini kita sudah ajarkan sejak dari sekolah gitu.
Terima kasih Prof. The last but not least, Marjoleen.
Yeah, I want to say that sometimes people say that why are you so pro Indonesia? Tapi saya pikir ini tidak tentang pro Indonesia atau anti Belanda. Saya pikir ini tentang satu kebenaran juga untuk orang Belanda. Saya pikir itu bisa bebaskan kami kalau lihat kebenaran as it is, you know. And also it's about human rights. I think every person, whether you're Dutch or Indonesian or if you're mixed, I don't mind, we can look at the facts and we can say this is good or this is bad. We can always apply ethics. And yeah, it's very clear, but the system that the Dutch imposed on Indonesia was immoral. There is no there is no ethics. Then, maybe as a closing statement, I want to refer, Pak Steve, you mentioned about Raja Willem Alexander datang di Indonesia beberapa tahun yang lalu, 2020. Ya, 2020 Maret. Tapi dia tidak permintaan maaf untuk perang kemerdekaan atau 350 tahun penjajah, tidak. Dia hanya permintaan maaf untuk kekerasan ekstrim. Mereka gunakan kata-kata ini ada alasan politik. Mereka pikir hanya kekerasan ekstrim seperti killing yang without execution ini tidak boleh. But they do not condemn the whole occupation as such. That means that the Dutch presence, the occupation itself, they're still okay with that. So, in my opinion, and yeah, with my foundation History Bersama, we often criticize also this gesture of the Dutch king, but also the Dutch research project on 1945-1949, which was conducted between 2017 and 2020. After the research project was finished in 2020, then also Prime Minister Rutte minta maaf again for only extreme violence, kekerasan ekstrim. It just actually, you know what they say? Sorry, Indonesia, that we were so violent. We should have colonized you in a more gentle way. That is what they are saying.
What a joke!
So, to conclude, I think that we should not forget. Yes, okay, Belanda sudah jauh, tapi let's not forget that Belanda until today is part of this Western power group with US and England and blah blah. And because of that, you can see that back in the result, in the way that until today, Indonesia is a very important country economically for Belanda. They have Philips, they have Unilever, they have Shell, they have so many companies that still want to sell their products to all millions of Indonesians. So it means, because of that, they want you to believe that they are better now, that they are good people now, and sorry what we did in the past, but we are okay, you can trust us now. And me, as a Dutch person who is critical of my government, I'm saying they are not to trust, because the reason is still the same as in 17th century. The reason is to get things from Indonesia and use any means necessary, they would do it again, because there is no change in the system, there is no change in the mindset. It's mindset, the system, still the same. So that's why I think that we cannot just move on and pretend that everything is over. And that's why I'm always warning that don't believe when the Dutch government is showing their sort of goodwill. We have to look what is behind, what is the real motivation to come here. Oftentimes they just want to sell their products again, or use nickel, or get something that they need. So, and that also relates to history, because they know that this history, because it's such a, if they read my book, yeah, it's not an advertisement for Banda, right? So they are afraid that this book will spread and damage their image. That's what they're afraid of. So that's why the history is very important to them, and that's why they paid 4.1 million euros to do research about Perang Kemerdekaan. Not for the kebenaran, but actually to change the narrative and still control the narrative into their own benefit.
So how come the Human Rights Court is in
Good question. Yeah, why is the International Court in The Hague? I think that's absolutely not a coincidence. That is actually because of Hugo Grotius, which is very hypocrite. That's what I learned also when writing Banda. The sejarah kolonial shows us that colonialism is always about this double side. On one hand, they start a war in Iraq because of democracy, blah, blah, blah. Or I don't know what else they use, but they use always words that shows that they care about the people, or care about something good, like freedom of speech, democracy, and then also justice. While in fact, they are the ones that violate the rules that they made. All this, I also write this in Banda, that in all these international law agreements that we are now having in the world, that were not made with the colonized peoples on the table. There were only colonizers on the table who made the laws, while they were still occupying so many countries around the world, including Indonesia. So this is the contradiction. These laws were not made with the intention to protect the colonized peoples, not at all. It was made to protect the colonizers, to be able to do all this without being harmed. So they use it as a stick to hit other countries, but it is not used. So I think it's very interesting what is happening now in The Hague, that so many cases, also by Indonesia, by South Africa, is brought in against Israel, because it's actually, the court is not used, it's not made for this. It's made to use the court to hit other countries that are not listening, that are not, it's I don't know how to explain, but maybe you get my message that, I do think it's not a coincidence that exactly The Hague is the city of justice. It's ridiculous.
Oke, terima kasih. Mari kita berikan applause untuk para penulis kita pada hari ini.